welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am the Woodland Witch, and in today's video we are going to be reviewing all of my tarot decks. This video is going to be strictly tarot, and I will do a part 2 to this video that is my oracle decks. I've got quite a few decks here. Some of these are oracle, but this is the shelf where they live. I don't use all of them. I am quite a big collector when it comes to tarot. The first thing that attracts me to a deck is the art style, and if it's got a good art style, even if I don't use it, I have to have it. Some of these decks were purchased, some of them were given to me, and some of them were won in giveaways. So I'm really excited to just get into it and share all these beautiful decks with you. So the first deck we're going to talk about is the Wild Unknown. Oh, hello, Empress. Oh! The Wild Unknown was the first tarot deck I ever purchased. It's pretty brutal. I dedicated this deck to my goddess on Maligna. This is how I communicate with her. If you want a deck that's straight to the point, doesn't sugarcoat, this is the deck for you. I remember when I first purchased this tarot deck, it was kind of before I really officially started practicing. I was still terrified of divination because I thought I was going to summon something. You know, I pulled it out one day and I was like, you know what? Let me just do a 1-card pull. Let's see how this goes. At this point, I was separating the deck into 3s. I didn't even shuffle it, and I flipped over the top card and I got the Tower. And looking back now, when I got that Tower card, I was like so positive about it. The deck itself is pretty brutal. The guidebook doesn't really do it justice. The one thing I don't really care for about this deck is that it's super vague. So for me, beginning tarot, it really didn't give me adequate information about what the cards really meant. So for a beginner who doesn't really know the basic meanings of the Rider-Waite or the basic meanings of a tarot deck in general, it was kind of hard to decipher. So when I pulled that Tower card and I read the description, it was really nice to me. It was like, oh, inevitable change, just surrender to the shift, you know, whatever. And everything that came after that was not as nice as the description of that card. So the art style of this deck is sort of a quick sketch style. Black, white, and grays for most of the card with subtle pops of color. The color does have a lot to do with the meanings of the cards in this deck. So I always pay attention to what the color scheme is, what's kind of going on in the image. Instead of using people as the depictions of the card, it's all animals. Kim Kranz, the author of this deck, actually has a companion deck, which we will go over in the Oracle video, which is the Animal Spirit Oracle. Overall, I really like this deck. Like I said, it was my first one, so I'm kind of attached to it. The cards are pretty durable. I've had them for years and years now, and they are still holding up great. If you've come across this deck, I think it's a great one to have on hand. It's durable and sturdy. The only thing I would recommend is if you are a beginner just getting into tarot, to have another guidebook on hand just to kind of get a little bit more in-depth meaning of the cards. I do believe that Kim Kranz has a website where they do go a little bit more in depth of the card meanings and give their backstory for why they created the cards and depicted them in the way that they did. Which one to do next? Let's do this one. I won this in a giveaway and it's gorgeous. Just came in a burlap sack. Okay, so I won this one in a giveaway. I absolutely adore it. It is a Harry Potter tarot deck, and while we do not stand J.K. Rowling in this house, these movies are super nostalgic for me. I grew up with them, and the way that this deck is depicted is so stunning and so perfect. I've never won anything in my life, and it was just really, really exciting for me. So the original giveaway was to get a resin art piece of one of the cards that I chose, and a couple weeks later, the artist who created this deck, who owns the company Paper de Lune on Etsy, reached out to me and was like, the deck is actually finished. We have officially printed it. Would you prefer to have the full deck or the resin art piece? I chose the full deck. Like I said, it came in a burlap sack, and it actually came wrapped in this Marauders map. So super cute, 10 out of 10 packaging. And I got my Hogwarts letter. Dear Woodland Witch, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Students will be required to report to the chambers of reception on arrival. Please find enclosed a list of necessary books, equipment. Term begins on September 1st, 1991. We await your owl by no later than August 13th. To avoid detection by muggles, please use the entrance at King's Cross Station, London on platform 9 3/4. Sincerely, Professor McGonagall. I absolutely screamed when I got this deck. It just brought me back to my childhood, and it makes me so happy. So the cards are pretty heavy duty. They're heavy. They've got a little bit of a glossy finish. The back of the cards is the Marauders map. And each card has a depiction of a character or a scene from the movie. You have the Ace of Wands card, which is the movie poster for Deathly Hallows. This deck is a little bit more of a collector item. I don't use it for typical divination, but it is a really nostalgic item for me. It brings me back to my childhood and it makes me so freaking happy. And Paper Delune did such a fantastic job of depicting these cards. I definitely want to display it. If anyone has any recommendations for displaying tarot cards and having them out, please leave those in the comments below. I would love ideas on how I can display these pieces. Okay, so we talked about one of my most used decks, the Wild Unknown. This one has to be my second most used. I use it with my other goddess, Brid. And that is the Green Witch Tarot by Anne Moira. Anne Moira is also an author. They wrote a series of 4 books surrounding green witchcraft, and this deck was made to coincide with this set of books. This one specifically is Folk Magic, Fairy Lore, and Herbcraft. This was one of the first books I got on green witchcraft, and it's really, really good. I think it goes into a lot of history of witchcraft as well, which is super beneficial. So if you're interested in getting that book too, I recommend it. Now, the first thing I really like about this deck is the guidebook. It's super, super thorough. It goes into reverse meanings as well. The cards are super colorful, super detailed. I'm going to do some close-ups of those so you can see everything. And it's almost like telling a story. A lot of the cards don't correlate with the traditional Rider-Waite depictions. For instance, the Fool in this deck is the Greed Man. You have the Lovers as the Lord and Lady. The Wheel of Fortune is the Wheel of the Year in this deck. You also have other cards that are thrown in here that aren't in the Rider-Waite deck at all. So you have the Earth Mother, the Battle Wagon, and all these cards hold their own meanings. If you're just getting into tarot, the guidebook in this deck is really, really helpful, especially with some of those new cards that you aren't familiar with. The cards are pretty thin. I would say they're really thin. I had to work out a shuffling technique with these because they're super glossy as well. So if you're not careful shuffling, you will literally get half of the deck in your reading and not know what's happening. So I've had to like maneuver it a little bit. The one complaint I have about this deck, while it does go into the upright and reversal meaning, you can always tell because of the image on the back when it's reverse. So it does add a little bit of bias to the reading when you're looking at it and you're like, that's a reverse card. So that's really the only thing I don't like, is that you know when it's reversed. So when I'm picking up my deck, I instinctually just put it upwards instead of grabbing it in a natural way. But this deck is absolutely beautiful. I think the cards are stunning. They're so detailed and so colorful. Not only that, every card in this deck is telling its own story. And the cards obviously have their own standard meanings, but you can look at the image and there's an entire scene going on. There's a backstory to each person in each card, and none of them are the same. So each one has their own little story, and I love that about this deck. So like I said, the only thing I don't really care for is that you can see when the cards are reversed or not, but overall this is one of my favorite decks and I absolutely recommend it to anyone who's interested. So this lovely deck right here is probably my favorite, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because I'm in it! And not only am I in it, but my lovely, lovely friends are in it too. I just love this deck, and I love that I get to see my beautiful friends' faces in it. Just like, look how stunning they are. So this deck is the Modern Mystics Tarot. It is a compilation of magical practitioners, witches, mystics. The idea behind this deck was to kind of give a light to modern witchcraft and modern practitioners. It's done in kind of a cartoony style. The cards are really, really durable. This deck is so cool to me. It's definitely more of a collector's item, similar to the Harry Potter deck. And while I don't use this deck for divination, I think it's so cool to have a deck with some other modern practitioners, some people I'm super close with. And it's so cool to look at it and be like, that's me. Like, I'm a tarot card. What a dream come true. I'm not entirely sure that you can still buy this deck, but I will try to link it down below. I'm gonna try to have most of these decks linked down below, so if you're interested in purchasing them, you can find them. Let's do this one. So this is the Embroidered Forest Tarot. It was actually gifted to me by Alicia, the author, and it's absolutely stunning. They're an embroidery artist, and all of these cards are depicted on their embroidery projects. I will say it's similar to the Green Witch deck, where it's super glossy, so you do have to be careful shuffling, or you're going to get 800 cards at one time. There's this, like, I don't even know what you would call that. Hieroglyphics? Not hieroglyphics. Holographic. Every card has a little bit of that holographic glow to it as well. The guidebook's pretty tiny, but I think that it goes pretty in depth to each card. It also goes into the reverse meanings, which is really helpful. A lot of decks include, spreads that you can do with them. This one has spreads for each specific Sabbath, so it's all seasonal. And they're pretty in-depth spreads too. I think there's like 7 or 8 cards per spread. And the packaging for this deck is probably one of my favorites that I've ever gotten. It comes in this little magnetic box to protect it. It's almost like a book. Like it fits right on the shelf, just like a book. So this deck is like 10 out of 10 for me. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's so unique, and the packaging is perfect. We've got just a few left. I told you that this was a big collection, so bear with me. Okay, this is my pocket tarot deck. This is the Everyday Tarot. Not gonna lie, I don't really care for it. If you're familiar with Biddy Tarot, it is an online website where you can look into the meanings of each card. I highly recommend it if you're just getting into tarot. It has a lot of depictions of upright and reversal meanings. And this is the imagery you will see on Biddy Tarot, right down to the color scheme. For convenience factor, this deck is pretty great. It's really good for traveling. If you don't want to bring your whole deck of cards in case they get ruined. Packaging keeps it pretty safe and secure while you're on the go. I just don't really care for the art style. I'm such a sucker when it comes to art style in decks. That's the first thing that draws me to a deck. It's the first thing I look for. So if the deck doesn't have a great art style, I'm not really going to be into it. The cards are really durable. I haven't used this deck in quite a long time. It's still, even for the size, like it's still pretty easy to shuffle as I drop 100 cards. I would say this deck overall for convenience is nice. I do know that the Wild Unknown deck just came out as a pocket size as well, so I'm probably going to invest in that one instead. Strictly for art style, there's nothing wrong with this deck. It's just very basic and not my favorite. Okay, 3 more. This is the Your Dream Will Come True Tarot. I got this deck at Marshall's. I don't hate this deck, but the cards are literally the size of my face. They're giant. They're just so big. It's just unnecessary. Like, it's just unnecessary. I can't even, I literally can't shuffle them. I guess I'm doing okay. Let's see what it says. King of Cups. I'll take it. This deck's pretty basic as well. It's matte cards. They're giant. I wouldn't go out of my way to get this deck. I kind of just saw it in passing and thought it would be cool to have. It's pretty affordable. I think it was like $10. So if you're looking to get into tarot and you do come across this deck at like a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's, I think it's definitely good for someone who is looking for a deck that's a little more affordable. One downfall to this deck is that there's no guidebook. So if you are someone who's just getting into tarot and you don't really know anything about it, anything about the depictions of the cards, this isn't really going to help you. Like I said, super affordable. And if you can get past the size of the cards, I think that you will be fine. I lied. Now there's 3 more. This is the Botanica Deck. This was also gifted to me by Beehive Books, and the art is by Kevin J. Stanton. The packaging is great. I think it's beautiful. Came with some stickers and some patches and all that stuff. Guidebook is very just like paper. It's not anything to write home about. The cards, though, beautiful. The cards are gorgeous. They're beautiful. It's a Botanica deck, so obviously everything is botanical, plant-themed, floral-themed. They're super colorful and super vibrant. I will say it's a little bit difficult to read these cards. There's no words on them. The only way you know what card you got is based on the symbols up at the top. So you really have to work with this deck, get to know it, get to know the symbols. It is a beautiful deck, though. It's got the gold foil on the edges and the back. It's just not my first choice of a deck when I'm looking to actually do a reading, but if you're going to go based on art style, I think it is absolutely stunning. Okay, 2 more. This deck is new to my collection. It is the Alice in Wonderland Tarot Deck and Guidebook. This was a gift for my solar return from my husband. I think it's a newer deck. I think it came out recently. It was on a wish list that I had, and he picked it out, and he knows me well. This box is so cute. Guidebook's pretty sturdy, and I like that the pictures are in color in it too. I really like this deck. Alice in Wonderland is my favorite Disney movie. Cards are all matte, but they're very comfortable, and it seems like it shuffles pretty well too. King of Hedgehogs, I'm screaming. But the art style is just so cute, and it depicts different scenes in the movie, similar to the Harry Potter deck where it was just different scenes and characters from the movie. This is another really nostalgic deck for me. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I'm really happy that I have it in my collection now. Okay, our final deck. This is the Cat Tarot. I love this deck. It's so cute. Honestly, I love this deck for when I'm in a really fragile emotional state and I need to do a reading and I know there's a potential for me getting roasted. I use this deck because it's really hard to be mad at. Look at this cat. Another bottom of the deck Empress. Hello. Look at her. Look at her. It's just so hard to be mad at this deck. So I can sit here and get hella roasted and be completely fine with it because cats. The illustrations are so cute too. I'll do some close-ups so you can see. So there's no words on the minor arcana in this deck, so it is another one of those decks where you really have to get to know the symbolism. So cups in this deck is bowls. It's like bowls of milk. It's so cute. I'm obsessed. Pentacles, look at the cat toys. I love this deck. It's so hard to be mad at. It just boosts your serotonin. It just makes me so happy. Instead of swords, it's their little claws. I'm obsessed with it. The guidebook's pretty simple, but it does go into upright and reversal meanings. Like I said, it's just really hard to be mad at or even get offended when you get roasted. So for pure serotonin alone, I love this deck. Okay, we've really cleared out this shelf here. Those are my tarot decks. I have quite a bit. I'm trying to rein it in and not purchase any more. Like I said, in the next video, I will show you all of my oracle decks. I will say oracle is becoming more of the preferred method of divination for me as opposed to tarot. But I really love all of these decks and I'm glad that I got to share them with you. I hope that you all enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.